Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Nguyen.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Tom King. I write Batman Bitch, and this is Bat Force Radio.
Welcome to Bat Force Radio, the Batman/DC podcast with no limits. Doing a little news segment tonight. Nice late night on a Friday. I got Robin Cross up in Canada.
Hey.
I got Grandpa Batman over in Texas.
Moloosh.
We're just covering some news tonight. The bullet points are the leaked images and footage of the new Batman movie with Batman stuntman on a motorcycle, I guess we talk. And Dan DiDio departing DC. That is huge news. Before we get into any of that, we have started our
YouTube
troop into YouTube. We're getting our
we've had the channel there for a while. Like Tom's always put up some unboxing videos and stuff like that. But as of today, we're adding the podcast episodes there.
Yeah, we're starting to get our content out onto the YouTube land, and we're going to start to navigate YouTube. And we're long overdue, but we do things a certain way, and we're pretty excited to get our content to everyone who mainly stays on YouTube. So if you're a YouTube dweller, then just type in Bat Force Radio or Bat Force, and you'll see some archived episodes along with new good content. And for future expansion in the near future as well. We got a lot of cool things in the works. So that's going on right now. So we're just going to jump right into the news today. Leaked images and footage from the new Batman movie hit the internet. And before we even get into that, I just hate when that... I kind of don't like when that happens. Why did I...
I don't either.
Why? And it has to be an inside job, or security is shit, because obviously we're older guys, and we come from the generation where the only way you get to see any content from new upcoming movies was pretty much in the trailers when you went to the movies, and it was so exciting that way. Now everything is just leaked out so ahead of the game, and so many people throwing all their opinions around, and it kind of takes away from the magic that once was with movie going. And
the same thing happens every time, because we'll get these leaked images. Like the same thing happened before, like when they were shooting Shazam. Remember those pictures leaked out? Someone took pictures with their cell phone from across the street, and everyone was like, "Oh, the suit looks horrible." Well, obviously, it's not how it's going to look in the movie. And it's the same thing. This scene that we're seeing of Bruce and Selina on motorcycles, it's not going to be during the day when we see it. It's, they shoot stuff during the day, but then they turn it into nighttime.
Is it Selina? Do we know that for a fact?
That's the expectation. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what other chick he'd be zipping around on motorcycles with. And there is that one shot where her visor's kind of up and you can see her eyes a little bit, and people are speculating that that's Zoe under there.
I was like, oh, what if it's Talia? And they were like, stop causing trouble. But here's the thing. It's like, there's no reason for this stuff to be leaked, so I'm guessing it's by design, or you got the shittiest security in the world. So I'm guessing it's by design, and I wish they wouldn't leak this stuff. I know it's 2020, but still, it's like, save this stuff for like a nice trailer and then the movie.
No, they make money off of it. They invite some photographer and stuff like that. They know what they're doing. It's all for PR.
It is a different form of advertisement, but it takes away from the magic that we once knew. But it is a different world. So what do you guys think about? Why don't we section it? How about we just start with the bat suit, not the Calyot either. Just about, what do you guys think about the bat suit?
Can I be honest?
are you ever dishonest, boy?
Okay, maybe y'all should go first, but yeah. I don't know.
Let me pull it up. Actually,
I don't hate the suit, keeping in mind that this is his early days of being Batman. So like he's put together, his first suit to start doing this Batman thing.
Okay,
and he's just put together, tactical stuff.
I dig it. I'm not talking about the cowl. I'm talking about there's a lot of Arkham Origins influence in this. There just is. For me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on, and like we've seen today a couple different creators
they all
posting pictures of it.
They're all trying to get some new
influence of their work.
Everyone's trying to get to. You got Sean Murphy, like nice collar. You got Lee Bermejo chiming in. You got Raphael Grandpa, like, oh, nice utility belt. And I'm like looking at all of it. It's like it's a little bit of a stretch, but okay.
There's a lot going on, and it's not real focused to me.
Yeah,
it's like, who is this? And like you said, it's kind of a hodgepodge of
it is.
Of concepts, and and another thing, just like what Robin alluded to, is like, this is probably an early concept suit. We don't know anything about the context, but it's almost like, to me, and this is just my opinion, and I know I'm jaded, and I'm always the pessimistic guy.
No.
I mean, I was the same with Affleck, and then that turned out. You know what? I loved B versus Batman versus Superman. Once you saw the suit, you're like, it's hard to go back. And once you got that suit in Batman v Superman, it's like it's hard to go back to something that looks very similar to like. The Nolan trilogy, where it's a mech armored plated suit, and it just looks like a cheap Iron Man, and it looks like a costume designer trying too hard, especially with the gauntlets.
Yeah, the gauntlets I want to get into in a second, but I don't hate the suit. It's very Arkham. I don't hate it at all. The gauntlets are a bit much, but the gauntlets also are reminiscent of the Talon's gauntlets with the daggers in them. That's what I thought right away. That's a bit much. So it is kind of like proto-ish, but I don't hate the suit.
Yeah, and the way that I see it, especially for him being early in his career of it, he's not. If you're an emotionally damaged guy who has decided to put on a suit and go out and fight crime, are you putting together something that's tactical and useful and protects you, or are you thinking, no, this doesn't look pretty?
Yeah, it's there's kind of like a year one thing going on as well, a 0 year actually thing going on as well, where it is kind of like, just a little tactical piece there, a little tactical piece here, and but I don't hate the suit. The cowl, on the other hand, is a little weird. There is a Gotham by Gaslight vibe going on.
Yeah.
From a certain angle. Some think it's just his proto helmet cowl because he's on the bike.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. This is his motorcycle helmet.
Well,
right.
To me,
have the goggles and everything.
Yeah, right.
To me,
that's
it's
not
like
what's in the screen test footage. Sorry, Gramps.
It looks a little bit Batman 66-ish because it's more oval. It's a little oval, and I mean that's fine, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. After getting a comic based and really as close as we've ever gotten to a comic looking suit, it's hard to, I don't know.
The footage looked good before he spun out. Like the footage looked kind of good.
I don't know. Was he supposed? Maybe he's supposed to fall there, and that's why they were shooting that. I don't even know. I wasn't sure, but yeah, I'm not going to argue with you that the helmet is the coolest looking cowl or anything we've seen. But it's the same thing, you know, if this is just a bike helmet that he's crafted to look to fit the bat motif, then, you know, how streamlined is it going to look? You know, it's not like he's not a cosplayer building something with the intent of it just looking good. He needs a functional helmet, and he just, you know, because he's obviously crazy, it's got to fit the bat motif.
Actually, there's another angle of it that looked pretty good. I think it also depends what angle you're looking at it from, but there's another angle of it that didn't look
We
too
got to
bad.
keep in mind too that it's going to look, the whole thing is going to look a lot cooler in the dark.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. And to be
Remember,
honest with you,
there
most
was a
comments.
scene. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say most comments I've read, that people are they're feeling it. A lot of people are feeling it. The suit, the cowl, it depends what angle, and it looks like it's a helmet. I don't know.
And the cowl, yeah, that like it has goggles on it. It's just his bike helmet.
There's one thing
But,
I'm really happy about. But go ahead first.
Remember, 89 Batman? There was they shot a daytime scene that didn't get into the movie because no, the suit looks like shit in the daylight. We got to just keep him in the dark.
That happens. Yeah. It's just one of those things.
I would be perfectly fine if they just continued using the Batman Returns costume in every Batman movie. Just to be, I just really, you know, that was the most
but how you gonna
amazing
make
suit.
money?
To
How
me.
you gonna make money with action figures and everything? You know, that's. What
I don't
happens,
know,
right?
but they could have just used that suit for every movie.
Batman Returns. I don't know, man. I'm liking them. I hope it looks more like Arkham Origins suit. I have a real thing for the Arkham Origins suit, and this looks like it's almost there. What I'm really happy about is what I'm seeing with his Bat Cycle, and that is the front piece with the main headlight has like the 2 points going up as if it's like a bat accent. And
Yeah,
that's
I do
what
like that bike, man.
I was missing this because for the past 2 Batmans, Christian Bale and Ben Affleck's Batman, his vehicles, there were no bat accents. There was no like bat wings on. You know what I mean? Like, all right, for the 89 Batmobile, the 2 back pieces, you know, it's like those bat accents. It's like, yeah, that's Batman. And this is the first time I'm seeing a vehicle in so long where it's like, you know, those points make you know it's a bat vehicle. Like the Tumbler and that fucking ugly fucking flying thing he had in The Dark Knight Rises, right? You would never know it's a bat vehicle, but those points on this one, it looks badass.
Well, what was it? What was that thing in Justice League? I don't even know.
The fox, the flying fox, or something it was called.
The fox, and then whatever crawled up the
fox
walls.
and the hound.
What was the thing? I was like, what is that?
Yeah, it gets too tankish, too mecha. So I'm really hoping that they stick with those bat accents for the vehicles.
But that brings up a good point though. Like that's why I like this kind of thing where, especially in an early days Batman, where it looks like everything is homemade. Because what I disliked most about his arsenal in the Nolan movies is that everything he had was repurposed military tech made by Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
And there's like, oh, we made this for the military and they didn't want it, so you can use it.
He was going in going in the right direction with Batman Begins, suit, Gotham City, and then Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises just went too like realistic and militant. And it was, you know, obviously Dark Knight Rises is amazing, but it Batman Begins felt more comic book. So that was a weird creative choice. But someone made a good point about talking about when Matt Reeves in those Planet of the Apes movies, when Woody Harrelson invades the Apes Cave or whatever it is, and how epic it is. I'm thinking that this is in Matt Reeves' hands. Matt Reeves, who was a student of Jeff Loeb's screenwriting class. And we're also seeing pumpkins on the scene, making sure, you know, that... So it's a good chance we're going to get a heavy, heavy Long Halloween influence in this movie. I'm not hating anything I see yet so far from it. I hope Zoe Kravitz looks good as Selena, man. I hope it works.
I think so. Like, you see any pictures recently of her being out at like events and like movie premieres and shit like that, and she looks like she's Selena just in real life.
All right. I'm hoping, because that's my only, I don't know, not a gripe, but just like, concern. Like I just hope I think it could work well, but I hope so too, because I don't know, everything else I'm seeing so far is I mean he's in a graveyard, a cemetery, and I like how they made those really extra large exaggerated tombstones. Remind you of a lot of old Batman books and whatnot. So, who was the guy on the internet that snuck into the shooting site?
just some dudes, huh? Yeah.
That's
Let me
great.
see what their
Oh.
I'll try to see what their account was.
Because this is in, is it in Glasgow?
Yeah, who are
I'm not
these
sure.
guys? I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, one angle of that cow did look pretty good. I don't know. We're gonna see, and those gauntlets look so Talon. Yeah, man, and this kind of stuff makes me really interested in terms of what the movie's gonna be like, and kind of want to see it now. So, but yeah, the internet got lit today, on fire, and yeah, there's been some interesting reactions.
Okay, so this is what the account was: Fellowship of the Cairns. That's the if you go check out their page, those are the guys. They snuck onto the set, one of the shooting locations, and they've got some pictures and videos of around the grounds, and there's a shot looking into a trailer where what looks like a bat suit is hanging there.
Jeez. Who is the security at this set, man?
It's you know who it is? It's that guy that was in King of Queens that plays Mall Cop. He's the head of
Paul Blart.
He's the head of security for the Matt Reeves Batman movie.
At the same time they're shooting this, they're shooting Paul Blart 3 where he's guarding movie sets.
We could also segue in real quick or fit in Ben Affleck's recent revelation about his battle with alcoholism.
Yeah.
And how it affected everything. I mean, you kind of feel for the guy, man. He really opened up about how hard it's been for him, being off and on the drink, gambling, at the same time, writing and acting,
and going through a divorce. The time that he was Batman coincided with basically the hardest time of his life.
And it really makes you think about what his Batman movie would have been like with that stroke. It's just, I'll tell you though, I'm just happy.
I can't even think about it.
I'm just happy we got the kind of Batman we did in Batman vs Superman. That is such a beastly Batman, and I hope that Matt Reeves pays close attention to that, because we want that kind of epic, savage, brawling Batman.
Well, I mean, and it sucks that Ben was going through that, and I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, but some of that could have helped him, with his performance as Bruce Wayne, with someone who has such a heavy burden of emotions on him and his soul. And I think that
he mentioned that actually.
Yeah, and that weight carried over into that role, and it sucks that he had to go through that. But that's also, life. His art imitated his own life in a way on that movie, and yeah, that sucks to go through that in real life. But, I saw him do an interview on a recent sports talk radio show, and he looked really good. Yeah. He looked like he'd lost a lot of weight. He looked like he was, in a good place emotionally, and so hope it works out well for him.
It's funny because with him being on TV looking so good, and then this footage comes out today, and there are a lot of people saying that looks like Ben's fucking chin under that helmet.
Oh shit!
What if the twist was
surprise?
This is Bruce being in here, and Pattinson is playing Nightwing.
Sheesh! What's gonna happen?
Perfect.
That would have been crazy.
Pattinson's gonna come out, and everyone's gonna complain, and they're like, "Oh wait," and they're just gonna CGI Ben's face on him like they did Sonic, and then everything's gonna be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that little teaser they gave us. What was it, about a week ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What do you think? I was digging the music too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, if that's a sign of the score, that the movie's gonna sound cool too.
all I know is this. It's like, whenever there's a new Batman movie, everyone loses their minds, and with every new Batman movie comes out, there's just more and more people responding even quicker, and it's such crazy Batman phenomenon. But I do know that Matt Reeves is an amazing director. This guy is top level, man. So,
And remember, one of the things he said a long time ago was that with this movie, he wants to take Batman out of the superhero genre.
which is really good because that's where Batman belongs. See, that's why I gravitate towards Batman so much, is because he's not like superhero-y, like up and away superpowers, super weaknesses. It's Batman is to me like opera, like a dramatic, epic character. And I think you could really do some proper cinema with Batman at this point.
Well, I mean, and a perfect example of that was the Daredevil Netflix series.
Yeah, exactly.
Here
That's
you've
they
got a
nailed
guy. Here you've got a guy that he does have enhanced abilities,
Yeah,
but it wasn't a superhero show.
exactly. Daredevil was the best thing that Marvel has ever done on in terms of live action. It's just, it's excellent, man. It really is. And I hope that's where they take Batman with it. And things like the Joker movie, hopefully might add to that fuel to see how you could take these kind of characters, these comic book characters, and adapt them to this highbrow cinema, and look what happens. You generate $1 billion and win fucking Academy Awards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think Warner Brothers is really, they want Batman to stay in that lane.
Yeah, I don't.
It's funny. I can't really go into it today. Maybe if we record a stack episode tomorrow. But I was reading issue 3 of James Tynion's Hell Arisen miniseries that comes out next week, and there's a perfect little thing. If you guys read it, you'll notice exactly what I'm talking about. But he sort of addresses exactly what we're talking about right now with the tone that is used with these characters. If you guys weren't gonna read that, it's in box. So just go read that issue. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Here's the thing. It's shifting where Joker movie does that well. Birds of Prey takes a huge shit. You could see you could see where the interest lies now. It's lying in more mature, high-level cinema. I think we also see that in comics too. Like, think about what's been voted. Many people voted the highest book last year was Harleen. So
Yeah.
it's this level of storytelling or cinema for these characters. I think that's where everyone's interest is starting to focus on now. And the proof. What does they say? The proof is in the pudding. It's money talks, right? Like, and
I thought you were gonna make a Harley Joker joke there with your proof is in the pudding.
oh god. But me, you know what? I can't complain. I mean, Arkham Origins-esque suit, long Halloween style movie. I mean, fuck. You know what I mean? I can't complain. I'm digging this new. I hope this is the new trend for future films. That's what I'm saying. Especially in terms of Batman, because we really need that right now. So, Tom, what are your thoughts on the new suit and the footage?
The footage, meaning like the when he's falling off the fucking bike.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, I don't know, man. It's I don't think it looks horrible. The suit. Well, number one, I know that it's like an ill-fitting stuntman wearing it, and it's probably just for that, literally just for a shot of him on the bike. So they don't really give a fuck like that if it's perfect or whatever. That being said, the ear surprised me. Like that was a surprise. I didn't think they'd go like to the back of the head like that. I like how you made that little Hershey's Kiss meme.
I was just in the mood for Hershey Kisses.
But we talked about too that that isn't the cowl that's in that footage. That's a bike helmet with like goggles on it.
I don't know,
So
but
that's not even
it's got the stitching
cowl.
though. It's got
But
the same like.
That didn't look at all like what we saw in the test footage thing that they showed, though.
It kind of looked like it to me. It just looked darker and.
I didn't see the goggles over the eyes like the.
Well, yeah, that's definitely an add-on.
Swimming goggles looks.
I'm gonna have to break this pool stick.
Gramps, what do you think about the goggles or the lenses rather? I didn't like I'm just gonna wait till like a legit picture comes out. Like this was just it was cool to see that like I think what Legends was talking about it, how all these artists are taking credit for all the parts of it. It looks like a Frankenstein. Like they obviously took so many fucking like they took inspiration from like 10 different like comic book artists. It looks like and kind of put them all together, you know. But it's funny how everyone's kind of pointing out like the parts that they think they influence, which is kind of cool.
But I think also that they would see a lot more than we would notice, even though, you know, we've looked at their designs. They're the ones that have spent, you know, hundreds of hours crafting those designs. So they probably see the elements that they were going for being put into this and saying, oh, I see what, you know, that was the same way that I crafted that.
Yeah. I'm seeing a heavy Rob Liefeld inspiration for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they
chest.
didn't show his feet. That's why.
Oh. Did the pants look? Well, I don't even think the test footage shows any pants, huh?
Oh,
no, I believe he was wearing no pants.
No pantsless. Yeah, because it's all because
no
the
capes.
pants might. No capes. Well, that could be CG. It could be. I was wondering, does he early on not have one, or is it like added on CG? Because you got to have the cape flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
I also like how I don't hate that there's like daytime shots because I kind of like, even though some people are like it's kind of stupid to see Batman fighting during the day, but cinematically it looked fucking cool in the scenes in The Dark Knight Rises. Because it's just like such a
I don't think this scene is going to be daytime in the movie though, because he had the headlight on that motorcycle, and
yeah.
I know a lot of movies they shoot stuff during the day because you know you can see shit, you know, and see what you're doing during the day. But I think this will be all filtered and it'll look like nighttime.
Yeah, it's a good point because a lot of people that are, I mean, that's a good point in general because we're looking at pictures off of a dude's like cell phone probably or a camera or whatever. But yeah, they're gonna edit the shit out of the coloring, the lighting, whatever, you know. So, and again, it's just the guy on the bike. We're not looking at Pattinson in the suit. I'm sure that'll look even better because it's gonna be like fitting him perfectly or whatever. But I don't hate it. I don't hate the suit. The only thing is, it doesn't look to me. I see all these people complaining about it. I don't necessarily have any of those complaints. I can understand why they don't like it, but I don't think it's horrible looking. I could see why like going from a very comic accurate look like the Affleck one and then back to a tactical look. Yeah. It makes sense though for what he describes he's trying to go for. So that's fine.
Did you see the pumpkins?
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh shit. Did you see Talia?
No, Talia?
He's stirring up shit.
Oh man. I'm gonna say, I'm interested to see how all the other. I mean, we kind of saw. I heard two different stories. I heard that Robin. Wow, listen to me. Colin Farrell. I almost called him Robin Farrell. Colin Farrell. Apparently, that set suit that we saw him standing with like a coat and holding an umbrella with the bleached blonde hair. You guys see that one?
I had seen that shot, and then I heard it refuted that
Yes.
it wasn't even for this movie.
Correct. They said that was just him just standing around, like not even like on set or something. So that changes up because people were like, oh, they're going for like Emperor Penguin. And so that's what I'm interested in. I want to see what the Riddler is going to look like. I want to see what Penguin's going to look like. Everyone wants to see what Catwoman looks like.
Yeah, this is crazy. There's a lot of heads in this movie, man. I'm pretty pumped for it. Matt Reeves. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't make bad movies, so I'm dude, oh my god, the internet's so funny. There's all these people just like shit talking the way the suit looks and saying like, oh my god. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but Affleck recently is he's on a press tour right now for his new movie coming out. And everywhere he goes, they keep talking about Batman. And they're asking him questions about, like, it's just so sad. They won't fucking let it go.
I know they won't let it go.
They won't let it go. Number one, he explains that the reason why he is no longer Batman is, number one, because there was obvious like meddling in this. Like they changed a lot of things that he signed up for originally, but then he very specifically states that he just didn't have the passion for it anymore. That he was writing the script for the Batman. He already did BVS and Justice League, and he had done like a bit in Suicide Squad. And he said that when he sat down to write like another version of the script, he realized he just didn't have passion for it, and he didn't want to do another one half-assed. So that's why he like kind of decided to go back and not do it. And so he's explaining that like fucking alcoholism, his divorce, like plus yes, studio meddling like made him not want to go. And so that's why he's like on this new journey in his life and shit. And all these fucking mouth breathers on the internet are like, do you hear that? He says that he wasn't passionate before, but maybe that means he has passion now. So he wants to come back. So let's sign this petition to get him to come back. It's like, you fucking momos. He's telling you.
You stirred up the bin, boys.
He almost died. He almost fucking died being Batman. He's happy now, and you guys want him to do it again?
Yeah.
And oh god.
You want him to come back to it so you can shit on him again for making another movie.
This poor guy, and just every interview he's done this week has been asking about Batman, and it's like, Jesus Christ, this guy's gonna get this the rest of his life.
Yeah, we kind of talked about how, all that stuff, personal stuff, weighed him down, but it also in BVS kind of made a impact on him, the way he played that character.
Yeah,
it sucked that he was going through that, but I think he brought that through on the screen.
Right. And
of course, you don't want that going on in your personal life all the time just for the sake of your craft. But his art reflected the life that he had going on outside of work, and it sucked. And it is good to see him in a better place now,
Yeah. Another great thing that people are getting shit on for is for the longest time people have been saying that Jeff Johns was the reason why Snyder lost Justice League, and Jeff Johns was the one that was causing the most meddling, and he fired Snyder. He brought in Joss Whedon. He rewrote a bunch of scripts, and that's why Ben Affleck left. So all these like Snyder cult assholes call him Snake Johns instead of Jeff Johns, and they use all these snake emojis when referring to Jeff Johns. And today, Ben Affleck comes out and says in an interview that he wrote so people have been saying, oh, the draft of the Batman script that Ben Affleck wrote. Jay Oliva, who did a lot of the animated movies, said it was the most amazing Batman script he'd ever read, and we fucking know that Jeff Johns fucked that up. Blah blah blah. Today in an interview, Ben Affleck says that he's like, I wrote a script with Jeff Johns, who I have a lot of respect for, and it was so the fucking script that everyone's been saying was so great was actually written with Jeff Johns. Yeah. And Ben Affleck says that he still has a lot of respect and admiration for Jeff Johns. So all these Snyder cultists are fucking losing their minds because they don't know what to do now that the people that they were blaming for the destruction of Justice League are turning out not to be the assholes they thought they were. But it's just funny shit altogether on the internet right now.
Man, I tell you,
well,
Batman sure is popular.
That's a pretty good segue into we're talking about people who get blamed for things. It's a pretty good segue into the Dan DiDio news.
Man.
Yeah,
that's a big one today.
DC Comics co-publisher Dan DiDio been working at DC Comics for, I believe, the past 10 years plus.
More, I think. Well, yeah. He was co-publisher for 10 years, and he was an editor. He was like VP editor, and then like a regular editor for another like 6 before that. So like 16 years.
It's unknown whether he was fired or he left, so none of that's certain. But it is the end of an era, and a lot of people are happy about it because the truth is a lot of people do not like him because a lot of people blame him for a lot of things.
See, this is one thing that bothers me about it's mostly on the internet. Like, I never hear people talking like this in the comic shop, but you see it online all the time, and you see people taking it can be a writer, a publisher, whatever, whatever creator might be involved in things, and they take what these people do with characters and they turn it into a personal beef and personal attacks. Okay, sure, maybe he killed a character in a comic book, but get a grip. There's no need to be online attacking him because unless he killed your mom, then maybe you should chill out, because he's just a guy that loves comics just like the rest of us and has spent his life working in comics.
It amazes me how people can't differentiate fictional characters from, people's real lives like that, especially, the Twitter trolls and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, they make professional choices that not all of us agree. There's professional choices made in this Batman movie that I don't personally agree, but I'm not going on there, shit talking Matt Reeves or anything like that. I got nothing against the guy. It's just we'll wait and see what happens. But man, there are some people that they just really need to get a fucking grip,
Yeah, it's funny too because the way I see it, because you, like you say, Robin, you hear the like right now you go on to Twitter and you search Dan DiDio's name, the majority of people speaking negatively are all random Twitter comic book fans. Every positive praise is coming from all the writers and artists.
Well, the people who worked with him. Like I actually pulled up a couple that I wanted to read here. So like, one of the foremost ones that I saw was, because recently a lot of people have said that, oh, Dan DiDio was the one that messed up Tom King's plans and you made him do this and made him do that. This is what Tom said about Dan DiDio. He said, working for Dan DiDio was working for the ultimate comic nerd, a man who passionately loved the medium and its creators, a publisher who worked tirelessly on their behalf. I'm eternally grateful. He gave me quite a few shots. Can't wait to see what he does with his next one. And he followed that up by posting a page from the Batman Elmer Fudd book. Said, the most Dan thing I ever did, Batman v. Fudd. Mitch replied to that. Mitch Garrett said, without that guy, I can't think of how Mr. Miracle would have ever happened. Right. Nicholas Scott, very sad to hear the news about Dan DiDio. Like many have already said, he was one of my fiercest champions, and almost every leap in my career came with his assistance. Donnie Cates, who hasn't even worked with him, had a meeting with him, we know, but didn't work for him. Said, absolutely gutted to hear about the loss of Dan DiDio at DC Comics. Dan was always a great guy, had a huge heart and laugh. I never worked with him, but I will mourn his exit nonetheless. And yeah, it's all that. Doc Shaner saying, similar things, and just everyone who actually worked with the guy talks about how awesome he was. But we have all these people who at most maybe saw him at a con moderating a panel or something are the ones who have negative things to say.
And then there was also a couple of people who said, I think Gail Simone was one of them who said that, and I don't personally like her writing or her online presence, but I do respect her opinion because she's a professional. And she was saying that he took a lot of shit for decisions that weren't even his, but because he was in that leadership role, it was his job to assume responsibility, and he did it, and he never tried to pass it off on anyone else. Like, he took
they're not going to shit on Jim Lee, God forbid,
Yeah, and so he and it's funny because he was co-publisher with Jim, but no one ever talked shit about Jim. Everyone was always putting it on DiDio.
Exactly.
I think
people blame Dan for everything, and I think that wasn't fair. Like, people say he hated Nightwing, he wanted Nightwing killed, and he killed Alfred, and global warming they blamed him for, and all this shit. So it's like,
but the thing too is, like, what you forget is that most of these guys with those jobs, specifically, like, we're lucky that these aren't like fucking corporate dudes that come from like fast food chains or from like telemarketing companies. These are just straight up like comic book nerds that got these jobs. So these, like, the way I see it is Dan DiDio had the most amazing job to be able to craft the DC universe as how he wanted to see it as a fan. So not everyone's going to agree with each other. Fans aren't going to agree with what you want. But he basically had like a fucking toy chest that he was able to he was wanting to make the universe that he wanted. So it's like, okay, yeah, like not everyone's going to like it, but you're doing what you want because that's the ability that you have. My favorite quote was probably the one that Chip Zdarsky did.
He wrote, "Oh man, Dan was a massive supporter of me being at Marvel. Sorry to see him go."
Chip's so
Yeah, good one.
But yeah, the hate is so unfounded. Like, everyone who worked with him had great things to say, and Dan was always super accessible. Anytime that I've had a question for Dan, I knew that I could send him a message, and he would reply very quickly and very like happy to answer questions. He was always super nice to deal with.
Now,
I personally had the pleasure of there was a year at San Diego. I want to say maybe it was like 2014 or 2015. I was walking through the ballroom, and it was right outside where they were having these the panels. And Dan must have been coming out of a DC panel. There was nobody in the hallway except for him, myself, somebody else. So walking down the hallway, and I see Dan, and I go, "Hey, Dan, I just wanted to say, and I think at the time Rebirth had just kind of kicked off. So, Rebirth was hitting it hard. Everyone was loving Rebirth. It was kind of going back to, like, a lot of things were coming back to the old way or whatever. And I was telling him, I was like, "Hey, man, like, Rebirth is selling like crazy at my local comic shop. I really love it." And he goes, "I love hearing that. Oh, my God. Thank you so much for coming up to me and saying that." And this little boy with a twinkle in his eye was so excited to see Dan DiDio. He ran up to Dan, screaming at the top of his lungs, this little boy, saying, "Dan! Oh, my God. Dan! Dan DiDio. Yeah, it's you. It's really
does
Dan
anyone
DiDio.
have a pen?
Can you sign my book, Dan? Please, can you sign my book?" Dan's like, "Oh, look at you, little sport. Of course, you're so adorable. What's your name?" "Jason. I love Legos. Absolutely love Legos, Dan. I love you. I love Legos. I love Batman. Can you sign my book, Dan?"
Does anyone
And
have a pen?
He was so nice to this little boy. So nice. He patted him on the head. He tousled his hair. And then he said, "Absolutely." And he didn't have a pen. So this kid's freaking out. He's like, "Does anybody have a pen? For the love of God, does anyone have a pen?" And then someone, I think a security guard, came over, gave us a pen. Dan signed it. "Here you go, son. Have a great one." He pat him on the back, and on he went. The little kid was skipping. He had his bags. He was skipping, hopping and skipping along. It was great. I wonder where that kid is. I wonder where that kid is today.
Man, those impressions will never be the same now.
It's too bad.
I know.
Too bad.
Well, you can work on your Rob Liefeld impersonation.
I know that's not. Oh my God, dude.
What a fucking dick.
So Rob
Jesus
Liefeld has
Christ.
been going off on Dan DiDio on Twitter all day.
Dancing on his grave.
And
Dancing on his grave.
I'm like, man, like, this man is in his 50s. You're acting like that? It's just strange to be, even if you didn't like the guy who had bad blood with him or whatever it may be.
Well, the
that's
bad
just
blood is that
insane.
Rob pitched him a bunch of bad ideas that he didn't want. That's what it was. Rob posted publicly that over the span of a year or two, he pitched like 9 things to DC, and they said no.
Yeah, every single
Well,
one.
don't hate Dan, have better ideas.
So about 4 years ago, I came up to New York to go to New York Comic Con, and my wife and I were in Central Park, and we were sitting at this bench, and Rob Liefeld walks by, and I know who he is, and he's with his family, and I don't say anything, and he walks by, and in my mind, I'm just thinking, what a piece of shit. And I get up and I start walking the opposite way, and then just out of the corner of my eye, I see something. I turn around, and one of these huge New York City rats runs across the sidewalk into the bushes, and I'm like, it's shocked. And then all I could think of was, that's the second biggest rat I've seen in Central Park today.
Oh, God. Man, let me see if I can find some of these tweets by Liefeld.
What do you guys think of this 5G initiative with AT&T talking about how they're gonna reboot the DC universe and replace characters and all this stuff?
My question is, do you think that DiDio was pushing that too hard, and maybe that's why they got rid of him? Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's everything is speculation. We don't know what's going on, but I'm hearing a lot of rumbling about reboots and character replacements and all sorts of weird shit.
Because from what I remember, New 52, like he was like a big push guy for New 52. Rebirth was John's, which he really didn't like. I think he had to get convinced by John's to jump on with Rebirth. But then it sold so well. It sold so well that like how can you not kind of go along
So
with it?
now that DiDio's gone, we could say that there were a lot of big blowouts between Johns and DiDio actually over a lot of things like what DiDio
Yeah.
wanted to do, and Johns pushed hard for Rebirth, which was an absolute success, and Battison just drove by.
Depending on, I guess, I think that's another reason why maybe Dan got booted is because like Rebirth was a great success, probably like the first couple of maybe the first year of it. But what happened was Johns that was his baby, but then he got tied up with like the movie stuff, so he focused on that, and a lot of the things that that should have happened with Rebirth, because Johns kind of went and did his thing with the movies, he kind of left it to DC. And rather than then like continuing on with everything, they kind of let some of the things fall flat. Like a big one was how like Wally wasn't anywhere to be seen, like all of Rebirth up until was it The Button and then Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah.
So that was kind of something that people were saying like, well, what happened with that? And then there's something else that happened during Rebirth. Was it Legion? Yeah, they teased Legion of Superheroes and Johnny Thunder. And that the Spectre, I think, was teased also, and those guys, the Blue Beetle was teased, and they didn't bring those back in. So I think like a lot of this is again just completely from speculation. A lot of the threads that Johns had tied in, and then he left, and he wasn't there to cultivate it, were left to DC, and then DC kind of focused elsewhere. So, and I know that people were complaining at retailer summits and complaining at I think it was mainly like the retailer summits where the publishing guys would speak directly to like retailers, and they would have that a lot in LA. And I remember talking to a buddy of mine who would go to those, was saying that like people were complaining about how they're mad about like a lot of that shit because people weren't buying certain books because the characters weren't popping up the way they were supposed to. So Dan took a lot of that heat as far as, and he took it like. He took it saying like, no, I take responsibility for that. I will make an effort. Me and Jim will make an effort to push for bringing that back around. And because he's saying that out loud, and you're now putting yourself out there as the fall guy, and if it doesn't get brought up again, people are going to complain and they're going to use your name. So I think that probably was happening is he made himself the face, and whatever people were complaining about, they kept complaining about. And maybe it just became too much when they bring up this new reboot. You know, okay, yeah, you're going to reboot again. You're going to have this stuff come up. But what about all the other shit that you said was going to happen? Like, is this just going to be the same thing, or what's going on? And I don't know, man. We've heard little rumors of what 5G is going to be. But fucking A, like this, it's no small thing to lose a co-publisher. So who knows what the fuck's going to happen now?
I wonder who's spearheading 5G anyway.
Well, it's because it has AT&T already merged with Time Warner. They have, right? Doesn't AT&T already own Time Warner? So it's a big push, huh?
Maybe.
I think that's what the big push is that it's kind of like them just having more corporate involvement, like almost like celebrating, like, I don't know. It sounds like a big wig thing. Like they've just bought up this property and they want to pump money into it to see where it goes. I think that's what kind of it is. So in order to do that, like you look at what worked, what made people go in and buy more comics, Rebirth and New 52. Like you got tons more new readers in there with both of those launches. So let's do it again, I think. And maybe somewhere there was infighting as far as like people didn't want, because there's a lot of changes that were being rumored as far as like Batman not being Bruce Wayne anymore. They were going to age Wonder Woman. They were going to age out Superman. So then, apparently Jonathan Kent was going to be the new Superman. They didn't necessarily say who was going to be the new Diana or the new Wonder Woman. And then apparently Lucius Fox was going to be the new Batman. So they were going to age out a bunch of the old characters. So, and people were freaking the fuck out about that all over the internet. And the majority of the voices were saying they didn't want it. So who knows? Again, man, like you said, everyone blames Dan DiDio for everything. So when people start complaining, that's the first person they're going to go to. And and again, they got bought out by AT&T. So they're going to want to save money. And Dan probably made a shit ton of money. And it's okay. You have two co-publishers. Why? Okay, well, can you need to? What about if you
Yeah,
just have one?
it's like when Saber bought Dunder Mifflin and Joe Bennett came in there and didn't like that Jim and Michael were co-managers.
Exactly.
So you got two guys doing one job.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And you look at Jim Lee. Well, compare Jim Lee to Dan DiDio. Fucking Jim Lee. Whether you want to admit it or not, you celebrated as one of the huge image artist. Big time X-Men artist, big time Batman artist. Like, so he not only has publishing credits, but he's one of the most beloved comic book artists. Currently.
He could fuck up all day long and people wouldn't call him out on it because it's Jim Lee. Todd McFarlane calls him, the golden child, the golden boy.
He calls him that?
Yeah, back when they did the Image documentary.
That's
like,
hilarious.
he could do no wrong. But Jim can't handle that co-publishing job alone because I don't think he's capable of it. I don't know what Jeff Johns' current title is, but they need to put Jeff Johns in charge of DC.
I believe his current title is Lord and Savior, and you know it.
That is the most common thing I saw on Twitter today. Is like tons of people saying just make Jeff Johns the next co-publisher, but I didn't realize this, and I read this recently. I had always assumed that Jeff, so Jeff Johns became the chief creative officer of DC Comics, and because he was chief creative officer, he was in charge of how the movies were to intertwine with the books. So basically, he was like a movie guru. They were going to him to ask about how to incorporate the characters and all this shit. He was helping with he was helping with Justice League. He was helping with Wonder Woman, all that other shit. Because of the bad blood with Justice League, they demoted him and they put him out of that position. And when they did that, he was no longer COO. They put Jim Lee in that spot. I didn't realize this, but not only that, he's no longer like a high up at DC. He began his own publishing company, and he is now like working alongside with DC. So he's not even like anything at the big, but he's not like a big DC wig anymore. He's literally just Jeff Johns with his own publishing company who works alongside with DC and who's still writing comic books, who's focusing on the TV stuff. So I had not realized that until I read it. And so right now he's kind of like a freelance. He's kind of like a free agent. So now that there's new management, not only above DC, because all the guys he worked with were Ken Tsuchihara, Diane, I forget her name. They're both gone. They both got fired. The only person left is Toby Emmerich, but he's doing the movies, so he has nothing to do with Jeff Johns anymore. So it might be possible to get Jeff Johns to come back if he wants it, but at the same time, like, I don't think you're going to be. I mean, he's probably making a shit ton of money with the TV stuff because he's producing almost like every fucking TV show that they got across all platforms. He's working on Stargirl right now that he's trying to come out with. So if he does anything comic related, it's up to him what they kind of come out with him with, like a paycheck or what. But I mean, everyone's saying they want him to come back because of how he's kind of always had the best ideas and the best way to kind of keep the characters to the heart of their character, I guess. It's a big fuck up, man. Like, it's a big fucking clusterfuck right now. A big unknown time period.
That is true. We shall see. Someone tweeted about Scott Snyder not being quiet on Twitter about Dan DiDio's departure.
He tweeted a picture of himself in Hawaii.
And they're saying that might mean that might, people starting to assume that Snyder might have been behind DiDio getting out of there, which is ridiculous.
Or just fucking on vacation with his family.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I know a lot of people are happy because the bottom line is a lot of people blame their comic book unhappiness on Dan DiDio.
Yeah.
They just
they don't know any other way.
Yeah, he was the face that they needed to play. So,
but it's no secret that they, some of them will say it in the way they're tweeting. Like, yeah, I disagree with Dan on a bunch of things, but I respected him. He was a comic book nerd who loved the characters. He loved the company, and he had the best intention for the company. Just a specific way of did it. I don't know. And Scott's got a specific way of doing things too. He's got ideas, and maybe they did butt heads.
Well,
but I don't think
we could say now we know that they butted heads in the past. Big time.
Yeah, but
So-
even if guys butt heads on anything, it doesn't mean like one guy having ideas for what he wants to do with the business and someone else saying no, I can't go, I can't let you do that. You know, having different opinions like that doesn't mean that they dislike each other or anything like that.
You know, I think it could be that maybe Dan went into the office one day and showed his dick to everybody. and that's what did it. We don't know, but it's funny that everyone's speculating like they know.
Or maybe
Now, do you mean like he showed it to them in like a Louis C.K. kind of way, or like, oh, yeah, you guys mind if I just whip it in for you?
Hey, what do you guys think about this?
Flop. What are we talking about?
Dan DiDio.
Please edit that out.
I don't know. The man's gone. It's okay.
Yo.
Damn. I know
Dan.
Sean Murphy is upset right now. He's worried about losing all the Dan DiDio impressions.
Oh, fucking- yeah.
That'll never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Who was it? It wasn't Patch Zurcher. Was it Cully Hammer? Let me see. Cully. Someone talked about how I think it was him. He said about Dan. Where is it here? Let me bring it up. No, that's him talking shit about Trump. Here it is. I met Dan DiDio in 2004 when he came up to introduce himself at a con. I'll be honest, I was feeling on a downward slide in general in this biz, and he had no reason to do that, but he did. And he said he wanted to get me doing more at DC. It wasn't long before I did Blue Beetle and everything else I've done there since. He really welcomed me back and involved me in stuff way more than I thought I'd ever be, and he's kept me busy ever since. Have I agreed with every decision? No. But I do know he loves comics, and as I've said many times, is as big a nerd as you'll ever meet. I know there are those who have issues with him, but the man has always been straight up with me, and I count him as a friend. So I wish Dan the best and thank him for being a cheerleader, an irritant, a fan, a booster, and a good pal. Things will move on. They won't be the same as he gets off the train, but they never are. Yeah, so, and I read somewhere else that he was similar to, what's his name? Neil Adams was really big on trying to get old artists props and like royalties for stuff they created and designed. Dan apparently was very similar in like without asking or without it being known or put out into the media that he would go around behind the scenes and try to get like old artists who had designed shit, written shit. He'd try to give them the credit that was due. They get like a character is like fucking blowing up in a movie, and now that's bringing in millions of dollars for the company. Dan was trying to like make it right by them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So you don't hear everything great, you know. It's not until after the fact, but yeah, you know, shit changes, man. What are you gonna do about it? Shit changes. Show must go on. My thing is like, fuck, where's he gonna go? You know,
Yeah.
Be crazy to see him pop up at Marvel.
Could happen.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be great if he wound up at Marvel and he continued to reject all of Rob Liefeld's ideas.
Oh my god, Rob! It's funny too. Yeah, Rob's acting like this guy is not in a position of power where he can just get a job. Yeah, like you might have to work with him again, you fucking idiot.
But Rob has recently burned his bridges with Marvel too, so he doesn't have any prospects at either place right now.
He's also he also is apparently no longer working with CGC. Did you hear about that?
No, he
I
also
hear that
apparently won't honor his Kickstarter campaign
Yeah,
That is
going on for the last 7
Jeez.
years.
Jeez, what's wrong?
Yeah.
With this guy is
He made like
insane.
$40K or something off that.
Yeah, he's a fraud.
Oh God, where was it? He was. Okay, yeah. So the CGC thing. So apparently, CGC, the company, is starting like this new label. It's like a Deadpool label, a Deadpool series where it's. I guess there's probably like a custom or specific like a Deadpool cool label. You know, they got yellow labels, blue labels unsigned, gray labels. I don't know what that is. Yellow label is a signature series. They're doing a Deadpool series now, and I guess it's specific to Deadpool books and whatever. So I don't know if they contacted him or what it was, but he didn't like the fact that I think what it comes down to is he's probably not making money they're making money off of it, and he's not getting a cut, or he feels that they're like upcharging. They're upcharging fans because what he said is he's already signed so many books that have already been graded. So now that the fans, what if they want to take those books, they have to get them regraded and repay to get them in this new Deadpool banner. So he's like not about it. So he apparently was contacted by CGC because they wanted him to play ball, and he basically told him to fuck off. And then he goes, from now on, I won't be doing any business with CGC. So if you want a book signed by Rob and graded by CGC, like, you better not let him see that you're working with CGC or that there's a witness, because he's not going to let you do it. Which is pretty fucking nutty, because I don't know how many. I mean, I've heard of artists and writers like doing an additional charge to do a CGC book, because it is kind of, I guess, a pain, or they're making money off of the artist that you're not giving back to the artist. But I've never heard of an artist straight up saying they're not going to work with CGC at all. So, pretty crazy shit.
Yeah, that is pretty nutty. But anyway, to Dan, we wish you the best, Dan. I'm sure Tom will keep your memory alive over here on Bat Force Radio.
Dan, you might not be over at DC Comics, but you'll always be on Bat Force Radio.
Hopefully that'll actually come true.
Yeah, I reached out to him, so we'll see what happens.
That would be great. And the Matt Reeves Batman movie, from what we've seen so far, looks interesting. At least good to see those pumpkins. So anyway, Bat Force Radio, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So we're expanding this year, and we got a lot of things in store for everyone. So thanks again for everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Hey Gotham dwellers, make sure to stop everything right now and subscribe to Bat Force Radio. We can be found on iTunes and SoundCloud. Don't miss out. Guaranteed to satisfy all of your Batman and DC needs.